Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Liam, and this is my hobby room. This is where I live. Today we're taking a look at another suit from Gundam 00. This one's also from Team Trinity. It is the Gundam Throne Drei. Fun German name. Fun German number name. They do that. It's interesting. So this is Unit 3 from Team Trinity. Yes, I know I did skip over Unit 2, which is called Gundam Throne Zwei. I have the kit right here. It's just this one requires a little bit more modification, so we're gonna hit that one after this one. That's just how I'm doing it. So without further ado, let's take a look at the model kit and we can, talk about it. So like the Throne Eins that I reviewed before it, the Gundam Throne Drei uses the same, I keep rolling my R's when I say this, the Drei. I do that when I get out of the shower. I dry myself. I told myself I wasn't gonna say it on camera, and then I did. Anyways, what was I talking about? The Gundam Throne Drei, I did it again. You see? This is the tiniest little, most subtle R roll. I can't stop. So, just blanket statement, I'll be rolling all of the R's. I can't stop it. I don't know why. I'm like this. The Throne Drei, like the Throne Eins before it, has the same body plan, so it's just using the exact same parts. There is, however, a different head. Up top, you got a different head, and it's a long, freaky head. People say it kind of looks like the Xenomorph from the thing with the guys in it. The big alien. That's the name of the movie. I knew that. I know what I'm doing. And it's got a few extra pieces of equipment, namely the GN shield on one side and a GN missile pod on the other, and then it introduces the GN beam rifle, which is attached to the bottom of the right forearm. It's just like a little underslung beam rifle. It's kind of cool. It has an opening gimmick where you can put like a little wire thing in to attach to the Eins. It's not that important. We're going to cover the whole connection gimmick in the next video, I think, because by then I'll have done all of them and I can show you all they have fit together. So, while this kit is mostly the same, it does have enough extra materials stuck to it where it kind of makes it look like a new mobile suit. And it is kind of a new mobile suit. Every time I review a model kit, I'm like, this one is my favorite. It's because I've just spent a lot of time building it and they're all my favorites. But it's hard, like when you look at your children, do you pick favorites? Yes, of course I do. My favorite is this one. This is a pretty straightforward build, especially if you've built the Eins or the Zwei before it. You'll know how it goes together. There are some seam lines and some mold lines to take care of, and a lot of hollow spaces. So I'll be going around and showing you some of these hollow spaces, which I filled in with epoxy putty. But overall, there's not a whole lot to look out for. There's no curveballs in this model kit. Very straightforward build. However, there is, going to be a lot of masking. So that's the thing you're going to want to do. You're going to want to do some of that masking. And that's okay. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to show you something. One sec. I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but I have this I got it from Drei. It's like this little slate and it's scored. And you put masking tape down on it, and then you can cut it to the shape that you want it to be in. Well, the shape in this case being straight lines. But they have a few different templates too. This is template D. I find this one really, really helpful. Drai's masking cutting templates, whatever they're called. It says it right on this. It's an easy cutting template. There's circular ones, there's wavy ones, woo, all kinds of cool shapes. This is the one that I have, and I use it literally every build. I find it very useful. I don't know, I'll put a link in the description, I guess, to a bunch of them, I guess. And you can buy one if you want, I guess. The only thing we will be replacing on this kit are the hands, because it comes with, like always, just the two generic holding hands, which drive me bonkers, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So instead, we'll be replacing it with the same sharp fingers that I used in the Throne Eins video, so I hope you enjoyed those. I'll link those down in the description as well. I did mention up top there's going to be a tiny little bit of modification, so let's do that right now. Modifying this kit isn't going to be too difficult. There's just one area that I want to take a look at, and it is part of the backpack. The wings on the backpacks, or the binders, or whatever these are called, kind of butterfly on this joint here. Now, the way we can separate them is by just cutting these pieces off right here. Does that make sense? See what I'm talking about? I'm just going to cut this part off, and then I can close the seam lines on the binders, and we can just reattach these when it's time to finish the kit. So let's do that. When I was thinking about this earlier, I thought maybe I'd use my electric router, but I have a feeling I'm going to mess it up. I'm not great with that thing, so it's just that this hobby saw has a pretty large kerf. If you don't know what the kerf is, it's the width of the blade, essentially, or the width of your cutting implement, which is going to be removed when you start, sawing and stuff. Now I gotta keep those parts together so I know which ones go where. Otherwise, knowing me, I'll glue them in all the wrong way. And wouldn't that just be so silly? I think what's gonna have to happen is I'm gonna have to put some plot plate on this piece before I glue them back together. Just to create a little bit of distance to replace what's being removed by the kerf. Such a fun word, kerf. Alright, so I've cut all those pieces off. Now it's time to, I guess, cement them together. There, I'm just gonna use this little clamp here. I got these off AliExpress, actually. They're very useful though. They're super cheap, that's nice. And the other thing I need to do is close up the seam line on these backpack pieces. And as you can see, it goes all the way around. I think I'm going to use my thicker cement for this one. Okay, now I'm just gonna set these aside, let them cure, and then we'll do some finishing together. So while we wait for all those backpack parts to cure, I'm just gonna do a simple mod here on the front skirts because they come molded together like this, and they have two little ball joints there, so when you cut them, they'll be independent and they're quite, movable. But I don't want them to be too movable because then they slide around and they look kind of silly. So I'm going to take this pin vise and just drill a little hole on either side through the center of these ball joints. And then I'm going to insert a little brass pin in there. This is a pretty simple mod, and I do this on quite a few kits. Actually, you know what? I might have even done this before on the channel, and you might already know what I'm doing. So if you do, that's awesome. Look at that. Look how simpatico we are. Isn't that fun? So that was 1mm, so now I just got to grab my 1mm brass pins. Rods? Whatever they are. Ta-da! Well, you know what? I don't even think I'll need super glue because it's pretty tight fit. So I'm gonna hold this and just kind of jam it in there. There we go. So now they move independently, but they're not flopping backwards, which is actually why I was doing this mod, so I could have led with that. But now you know. Now you know what I'm doing. What did I say we were doing again? The binders are going to have to rotate a little bit, and they're not going to have the clearance to do so. So what I've done is I've just added a piece of plot plate to either side, to either binder, which just gives 1mm of clearance. And then I can cut out the center of that piece. Does that make sense? Are we making sense here? We're going to cut out the center of this plot plate piece, and that way it will have some clearance while the wings are moving. This is something that probably no one will notice, but hey, I'm doing it. So here you can see I added the plot plate to the back of these wing binders here. And this is roughly what it will look like when it is together. Whoops, oh my god, butterfingers. And that's it. It's a pretty easy little job there. A hobby saw is like a pretty useful tool, especially if you want to avoid any masking or if you want to change the shape and size of things. You can cut things in half and put plot plate in between them. I find it to be a really useful tool. I use it quite a bit. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the modification. It wasn't that difficult, just took a bit of measuring and a bit of going back and forth, making sure everything fits together. But them's the breaks. Hey. Anyways, now we are ready for painting. So let's do it. So to prime this kit, I'm going to be using Gaianote's Surfacer Evo, and then once it's all surfaced, and I've checked for all the little imperfections that I can go back and fix with putty, I can close those up, sand them down again, and reprime them. And then I'm just going to do a quick coat of Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black, which will give me an even starting point. I prefer my colors to be a bit darker, and then I can highlight them and bring them up to a nice finish. So that's what I'm going to be using there. For all of the white parts, I'm going to base coat them all in that blue color, which is something I've been doing for a while if you've been watching my videos, so you know that's what I do. And then I go over that with an off-white, specifically Mr. Color 69 off-white. It's my favorite one. I just really like it, and I think this kind of stepped color combination I think works really well. Next up, we're going to do the frame. Now, the frame is using pretty much the exact same color as the armor for the Throne Irons, which is nice. I just added a little bit more purple and a little bit more light gray. This is a custom mixture. It's just kind of a bunch of stuff thrown together. I think it looks really good. It's like a purplish brown. I really like that color, but I could not tell you if I made it other than I used brown, I used gray, I used purple, I used red. I might even use some yellow. I don't really remember. Now the V-fin and the vents on the throne Drei are yellow, so I sprayed them in red, and then I did a bit of a white highlight, and then did a very light coat of yellow, and it gives it a nice orangey color. So that turned out real nice. I like that, but there's just not very much of it. And last up, there's a bit of gray, and that was just like some random gray color I had kicking around, like a neutral gray. I think it looks fine. Just nothing to write home about. The next is the red color. Now this one is also a custom mixture, though it's nowhere near as complicated. I just took some like really bright red and I added a little bit of like a grayish color to it and a bit of that brown from the frame color. And I think it turned out really rich, really nice, deep red. It's kind of like a red velvet color. Anyways, are you ready to take a look at the kit? Because I am. So here we go. So here is the Gundam Throne Drei, all snapped together, and its seam lines are filled, its mold lines are sanded down, and all its holes have been filled with epoxy putty. And I think it was a really good starting point. And boom, here it is all painted. And isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? I had a great time working on this kit. I mean, I haven't done the Throne Zwei yet, but I'm pretty sure this one's gonna be my favorite. So yeah, good time. Now, a little bit about the mobile suit. The Gundam Throne Drei is piloted by Nena Trinity of Team Trinity. Now, that's, again, those three siblings, completely bonkers. Really cool plot point in the show. You should definitely watch it. Now, this one is kind of a support unit, so it's like a mid to close range combat thing. And it stays back for the most part and has like an advanced sensor suite, I believe. And it also does this big GN particle spread, which is like a stealth field that they all kind of rely on to carry out their armed interventions here and there. Now, in model kit form, I think it was translated really, really well. Maybe even better than the Throne Eins. I think it's simple and it's not too over the top, but it does have some really cool pose ability. Just because of all the different accessories on it and the wing binders on the back give it a lot of character. Now, these wing binders open up as well, which is pretty sweet. And you can see the detail on the inside there, which is masked and painted off just with the same color as the frames. Now, all of the Gundam Throne suits come with beam saber handles, and they're attached to the pauldrons up top here, but none of them actually come with the blade effect parts, like the beam effect parts, sorry. And these are the same effect parts that would come with the Gundam Virtue. So if you have a bunch of those kicking around, I think Gundam Age uses them as well, and every now and then they crop up in a different series. But they're the flat blades. Now, they are supposed to be red, technically, if they are the Gundam Thrones units ones, so you can just spray them a bit with like a clear red and it should be fine. That's what I did here. And I had some extra beam saber handles kicking around from a previous build, so I just slotted those and glued them into the beam saber holding hands, so I can just swap out the hands whenever I want to pose it that way. And yeah, it's really expressive. This is a really expressive kit. A lot of fun posing it. I was playing with it for a while and just kind of forgot to do any of the filming, so that was kind of funny. Whoops, my bad. Now, like I said before, or at least I thought I said this before, the Throne Drei and the Throne Zwei can both connect to the Throne Eins with these little cables to power its GN Mega Launcher. We're going to cover that in the Throne Zwei video, the next one, because, hey, that's just what I'm doing. And the Throne Zwei does have a little bit more modification, or I should say a little more in-depth modification that I want to do. But overall, this one didn't really have that much, and even then, like, it wasn't that necessary. I could have painted those pieces by hand instead of sawing them off. So if that's something you're... Ugh, it's just burped, excuse me. Ugh, it's a weird one. So if that's something you're concerned about, not the burp, but the modifications, don't worry about the burp. I'm fine. I'm gonna be fine. Oh dear. If you're concerned about modification, don't worry. This kit, there's nothing on it that is like a necessary mod. I just found there to be a lot of masking, so if you want to do that, you can. Otherwise, you can paint it by hand and just be real careful. Hey, that's fine too. That's fine too. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of like whatever you want to do, hey? But I think this kit is my favorite out of the three. I think it has the most character. Then again, I haven't built the Throne Zwei yet, so my opinion may change radically when that happens. And I think they look really, really good together, at least the Throne Eins and the Drei do. Obviously, I'll show you what they all look like together when they're all done, but overall, I've really been enjoying the Thrones kits. I think they're bigger and more imposing. They're sharper. They're definitely bad guy suits, you know, they're bad guy coded, but really, really cool. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed painting the model kit. Hey, and I hope you enjoyed your summer, too. And if you want to enjoy it more and enjoy more Gundam stuff, you should go check out the other videos on my channel, because there's like over 100. It's just a lot of Gun Club videos and me doing this kind of stuff. And you can join the Liam's Hobby Room Discord, which is free, and I'll put it down in the description below. You can join there and check to do the talking on the share the stuff you're working on. Really cool painters and cool people in there. It's fun. It's fun. It's a nice place. Anyways, I am going to leave you now, and it has been an absolute pleasure making sounds at you through a screen. So be kind to one another, and I will see you guys next time on Liam's Hobby Room.